Hey guys, this is Justin with Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and this is our first look at KTM's new 2018 fuel-injected two-stroke. All right guys, so early in 2017, KTM and Husqvarna announced that they would be releasing a fuel-injected two-stroke sometime in the year. Here we are in December, we finally are able to get our hands on one of these things. And in this video, I kind of want to just give you an overview of the bike, talk about some of the details of it, and I'm going to be doing another video as well where I test the bike. I'm going to compare it against a 2017 carbureted version, so be sure and watch that video as well. But for now, let's just talk about what this bike is all about. It is the first production two-stroke fuel-injected motorcycle ever made. And the reason that's so neat is because two-strokes, carbureted two-strokes, have some flaws. First of all, we all know they don't burn real clean. They're not efficient at all. Fuel injection is supposed to make them more efficient. With that inefficiency, they tend to foul spark plugs quite a bit. And if you're riding a carbureted two-stroke in differing elevations, you have to change jetting. I have a Husky 300 that I have jetted perfectly for 5,000 feet. I took it to Colorado, got into 8, 10, 12,000 feet, and it ran horribly. You have to change jetting all the time if you want it to run right. So fuel injected is supposed to overcome all of those problems that your normal carbureted two-stroke has. So this obviously isn't the first fuel injected two-stroke. However, KTM did do things a little bit different. Most of your fuel injected two-strokes that you'll find on snowmobiles or outboard engines use direct injection. That's where the fuel injectors are right on top of the cylinder head and inject right above the piston. KTM took a different approach. They actually inject the fuel in the transfer ports. So on both sides of the cylinder, in the transfer ports, you have fuel injectors. And KTM did this because they say it atomizes the fuel better, mixes better with the air, and you get better performance. And KTM has been working on this technology for the last 10 years. They said they weren't going to release this until they had it right. And from what I'm hearing, they got it right. Another thing that's unique about this motorcycle is that it no longer requires you to mix your premix oil with your gas. Instead, it's got an oil tank. The filler's right here up on the frame, and there's a tank below the fuel tank, and it holds the oil, and it's got an oil pump that pumps the oil into the engine. And the nice thing about that is the engine can be a lot more efficient with the oil. It can meter how much oil it uses. So maybe at high RPMs, it uses more oil than it does at less RPM. So a lot more efficient with the fuel and also a lot more efficient with the oil. For me, the most exciting part about the fuel injection is no more jetting. This thing has state-of-the-art electronics and sensors that measure air pressure, temperature, and things like that, so that you're getting the perfect air-fuel ratio all the time. So if you go up in the mountains, it's gonna run good. You never have to mess with that stuff. So I'm excited to try that. So the only US models getting this technology is the 250 XC-W, and then on the Husky side, you're getting it in the TE 250 as well. The 300, they are making it, but only in Europe. So hopefully next year the US will see the 300. And the difference between the KTM and the Husky version isn't much. They're about the same engine, same fuel injection system. There's a little differences in suspension where the Husky has the linkage rear shock. Both have the Explorer front fork, so both bikes are pretty much the same. All right, so I've talked about the advantages of TPI. Let's talk about some of the disadvantages. The bike has gained a few pounds. They say it's 5 or 6 pounds heavier than the carbureted version. When you add a fuel pump, oil pump, and different things, oil tank, you're gonna add a little bit of weight. Another disadvantage is you have more parts that can fail, a fuel pump, injectors, things like that. So only time will tell how well those things do. On their 4-stroke models, they do just fine. And I can tell you the fuel pump is the same one that they use on most of their 4-strokes. So should be all right. So moving from there, KTM's got a really solid platform with this bike. They made a lot of changes to it in 2017 with new bodywork, new frame, even new suspension with the Explorer fork up front. Everybody seems to really like that fork, but there are some differences as well. Obviously, the oil tank, you fill it right here in the frame. I noticed that the power valve is still adjustable. It looks like the same power valve is on the 17, but mine didn't come with the optional springs or any information on how to adjust it. So I'm not sure what's going on there yet. I don't know if it has to do with, you know, their sensors, if they don't want you playing with that. I did notice, just like the 17 model, there is a plug for a radiator fan. So it's easy to put a fan on these. It still has the 2 ignition timing maps, but on the KTM version, the way you change between those 2 maps is by unplugging or plugging in a plug found underneath the gas tank. So it's not real convenient. The Husky model typically will have the switch right on the handlebar. And the last thing I wanted to point out was I noticed they changed the spark plug number. It's got a new strange NGK spark plug number. Looking into it, it's a really expensive spark plug. So let's just hope these things don't foul plugs like a carbureted version. All right, so that's it for our first look at the 2018 KTM 250 XC-W with TPI. Be sure and check out our test ride video where we compare this to a 2017 carbureted version. We're pretty excited to run this thing through its paces. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and if you have any comments about this bike, leave them in the comments below. Be sure and check out our website for all your parts, apparel, and accessory needs. Thanks for watching.